Welcome to the Elementary STEM Coach Podcast. I'm your host, Naomi Meredith, a former classroom teacher turned K-5 STEM teacher and coach. With over a decade of experience teaching and a master's degree in STEM leadership, I'm here to coach you throughout the year to help you gain back more time to create innovative experiences for your students. You know, teaching growth mindset is important, but how do you do this effectively in a STEM setting? We are going to dive into practical lessons that you can teach your kindergarten through second graders in this two-part series where I have a week full of lesson plans that you can teach your students. If you haven't already grabbed this free download, I have a week of lesson plans all made with a STEM twist to teach growth mindset and different themes all within a week. This guide is super helpful because if you need lessons just for primary, the K-2 setting, or for upper elementary, 3rd through 5th, I got you covered. And the themes align, so if you're teaching one theme one day, it's the same theme for everybody, but then you have two separate lessons. So super great. This will be linked in the show notes for you, along with all the lessons I'm going to be talking about. Side note, if it sounds like I'm talking a little weird, I am. I have something covering my tooth right now. I was at book club and I was eating a soft cracker and one of my crowns just popped off. It was so weird. I wasn't alarmed. I have a lot of teeth stories. I could actually do a whole podcast on that. So I have something covering my tooth right now. I couldn't get into the dentist right away just with what I had going on. So I'm doing the best I can. Over the years, I've come up with different growth mindset themes and things I like to teach my students. And these really developed when I was a 3rd grade teacher. And then I shifted those into the K-5 STEM space. And if you've been with me for a while, I had a few other themes, but I've modified and adapted and pared it down to 5 because these are things I teach students all the time, no matter what the project is. But I have been asked a lot, how do you actually teach that theme? How do you introduce it to kids? So I went through this summer and I actually made videos that go along with each of these themes. So for example, one of the themes is we create work that we are proud of. And I created a video that is 1 to 2 minutes long, kid-friendly, engaging for kids to explain what the theme is and how they can apply it in authentic ways, and also how people in different careers actually apply this in their jobs. There also is an overview video of what growth mindset is, and I was really struggling finding a good video for kids, so I made my own, and you can use it too. I'm going to take you through each of the themes, and all of these lessons in K-2 and also for 3 through 5, they pair with a story. So maybe you have the hard copy on hand, maybe you can grab it from the library or even check it out online, but I like to pair it with a story to make it tangible and real, perfect for that back to school time. And then there is a hands-on lesson that goes along with it. I have this set up where each day, there's 5 days, has a different lesson. You can extend it past that time, of course, but I try to make the activities pretty simple where it should work for a 1-day, 45-minute lesson. Day 1 is talking about the theme, we create work that we are proud of, and it goes along with the book, The World Needs Who You Were Made to Be by Joanna Gaines. And the first time I read this book, I actually cried because it's really sweet where everybody has all their own skills and all of their own talents. They're all creating their own hot air balloon in the story. But with that, they're creating something that they are proud of. They are using their talents in a way that makes sense for them. It's important for kids to realize they have different skills, they have different abilities, they're at different levels of their learning, but creating something that you are proud of and knowing that you tried your best is not only important to STEM, but in any project that you do. This lesson is really good to start with. It's actually the easiest one to implement because after you read the story, kids are going to be creating their own hot air balloon that represents them. There's a couple ways that you could do this. You can use small paper plates to create the hot air balloon, or if you want to speed up the process, there is a coloring sheet that goes along with it. This can make a really cute bulletin board in your classroom or on your wall, or if you want to make a little book that the kids can look at in their classroom, that would be really cute too. The next growth mindset theme, and this is probably the most common when it comes to teaching growth mindset in a saying, but it is all about we do hard things. And the story that you are going to read is Unflappable. I found this book when I was traveling in Oregon one summer and went into one of the famous bookstores downtown and saw this book. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is exactly perfect for growth mindset. So these birds are trying different things. It's not working with their invention idea. They're trying to create something that will help them fly, and then they create a solution in the end. So it's really good showing that maybe your first solution doesn't work, maybe your second doesn't, but you got to keep going, keep going, keep going. You can do the hard things. The project for this, students are going to be creating their own straw paper airplane where you are going to have a big jumbo smoothie straw and create an airplane for that, and then use a smaller straw to launch the airplane and test and try different things. Day 3's theme is we make mistakes to help us grow. Again, this is part of the learning process, and you probably noticed the theme. This isn't just STEM. So if you're trying to implement more STEM in your classroom and you are even a classroom teacher, you can use these lessons. They're pretty universal, actually. But we're talking about how mistakes help us grow, even if you don't get it right the first time, a lot like what happened in the other story. You're still learning from that experience. You're trying something new. You're learning not to do that again. This goes along with the story Rosie Revere, engineer, and kind of similar, where she's also trying to build a flying machine for her great aunt Rose. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. She tries different ways, learns from her mistakes, and finally creates something that will work. And so kids are going to be creating a prototype. So maybe something that doesn't actually fly, but they're going to be using simple makerspace materials to create a flying machine for a great aunt Rose. So this is a fun one. And every time I do this lesson, the littles, especially the kindergartners, like to take their flying machine around the room and make little airplane noises. And it's so sweet, and the imagination that you want to see in kids. Moving on to day 4, we're talking about we dream big and take risks. And you would think that that's an easy concept where kids are dreaming all the time, but what is even more important with a growth mindset is the big, hairy, scary dreams. It is scary to dream of things that maybe you don't even know anybody who has done that dream before. Maybe that dream isn't something that's going to happen right away. I do this all the time. I have big, scary dreams that is really hard to attack, and maybe it doesn't make sense to anybody else, but I know it feels right for me. And so dreaming big and taking risks, even if it doesn't work out or even only works out for a short amount of time, is such a big life skill. And that's something that's going to make kids who eventually are going to be adults really stand out from the rest. So the story you're going to read for this one is After the Fall, and you're going to create something that's going to help Humpty Dumpty get back up on that wall and feel safe. So this is a really, really cute story. This one I like to use reusable items like Lego bricks, blocks, things like that, and plastic Easter eggs, which plastic Easter eggs is something I use quite often in a STEM space, so those are really good to have on hand. And rounding out day 5 is all about we look at the world in new ways. This is where inventions happen, where we are seeing something, but we're thinking, how could I think about this differently? And having that innovator mindset. And with this one, I even created, if you're watching the video version, you might be able to see it next to me, but I created a poster that is inventor thinking strategies. And if kids are stuck, like, I don't have an idea, I don't know what to do, here are some ways that you can think about an invention. Things like, how could you make this situation better? Could you take something away from an original idea? Could you add something else? There are things that inventors do. It doesn't always have to be a fresh idea. It could be modifying something that's already out there. So the book that you are going to be reading is Perfect Square, and it's looking at a square of paper and how it can be used in many different ways. And with that, kids are going to be using paper and build their own ideal playground on top of a paper plate. Again, this is a prototype, and I even created templates of different playground equipment where if kids are a little bit stuck, they can use those to add on or use that as inspiration for their ultimate playground design. All these lessons you can teach in any order that you want. It doesn't really matter. They are pretty quick. This is an order that I thought makes sense where it can build off of the next one, getting into more complex themes, really great discussions. But I'm so excited for you to use these in your classroom. Thank you for asking about these. And I really hope that you enjoy not only the lessons, but also the videos in your class. If you use any of these, make sure to tag me on Instagram at @NaomiMeredith_. And everything is linked for you in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Elementary STEM Coach podcast. I would love to connect with you over on Instagram at @NaomiMeredith_ or send me an email to elementarySTEMcoachpodcast@gmail.com. Also, make sure to check out my website, naomimeredith.com, to see all the show notes from today's episode and shop my K-5 STEM resources. Any questions you have, needs for resources, or ideas for episodes, get in touch. I'll talk to you soon.